Okay, so in this part what we'll do is we'll expose the telnet server on the DMZ to the outside network. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll just test that we can connect to telnet. Okay, so our telnet server is at 172.16.100.7. Okay, so that looks fine. Oh, sorry, we're connecting to port 80 there. So we'll try and connect to port 23. That's fine, so we'll just try administrator. Okay, that's great. So the default home folder is documents administrator. We'll just create a file. And then we'll just go over here. And so that's in okay, and there's the file we just created through telnet. Okay, so we'll just exit. So again, what we'll do is we'll open up a machine that's on the WAN network, and then hopefully we'll be able to connect into the server, telnet server, on the one-to-one mapping that we've made. .200.0.102. Okay, so the reason for that is that we obviously need to open up the firewall. Okay, so let's look at our rules. And what we can see is that we've opened up port 80, but we haven't opened up port 23. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so we're going to allow in anything going to telnet. To the DMZ. So that's allowing all the machines on the DMZ to be contacted by telnet. Okay, so we just check. So we have 23 in there. So now let's try that again. Not there yet. So we just check what our IP address is. so it doesn't have the right IP address. So what we'll do is that we'll just update its address. Just to make it sure it's on the WAN network. Okay, so let's get a new lease. And that's fine. So now let's try again. And it works. Okay, so through one-to-one NAT, we've managed to be able to contact our telnet server. So what we'll do is we'll just make sure that that's working. So there, and I'll just list 2. So we'll go over here just to prove that we're behind that. There we go. And when we look, there is list 2. Okay, so that shows that that's actually working now, and we've managed to be able to expose our telnet server to the outside. So the next thing we're going to do is to be able to remote desktop into the into our LAN. So what to do is to run Wireshark, and then hopefully you should be able to remote desktop, and what you'll find is that the information that's sent is unencrypted. Okay, so let's get the address right. 172.16.99.7. And there we go. So if we allow, there we go. Okay, so we have our remote desktop working. And then we'll just disconnect. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the FTP service. So from here, we'll have a look to see if the FTP service is running on the LAN network 16.99.7. Okay, so there isn't any files in there just now, but we could drag files in if we needed to. And then we'll actually create a telnet connection. 16.99.7 on port 21. And then we type user and napier. Password. Okay, so that's us in. So then we can type help. It's one of the FTP commands. pwd shows us what our present working directory is, and if we want ASCII or binary, we can type that. And then what we do is that we type in passive. So passive FTP opens up a port on the server which we then connect to. So if we type passive, then the last 2 digits tell us which port that we need to connect to. So if we very quickly calculate that, then it's actually equal to 243 times 256 plus 160. So the port that we must connect to is that one. So what we do is we open up another command line prompt and we connect in to 172.16. .99.7 on port 62368. Okay, so we now do a list. We're going to connect in 62368, and there you go. Okay, I hope you could see that what happens with FTP is that a port is opened up over here, and then we create another telnet session and connect into it and get the listing. The 2 numbers that we look for are actually here, and so the port 21 is really just used for the commands, but the actual data that's transferred is actually transferred through these passive ports, which are actually set up on the server. And the reason that we've got to do this, the firewall will open up. So you see the firewall will allow this to go through because it actually watches the communication that comes back and opens up the port to be able to connect, to be able to be connected into. Okay, so in the next part, what to do is to have a look at the Hydra. So we'll just quit from here. Quit is the command to get out, and we can try our Hydra. Attack. So you should find there's a user file, and we'll just have a look at that one. So administrator, so we'll just have a look, and Napier is in there, and we'll have a look at our pass file, and we have Napier 123. So when we run Hydra, -L for a user file, -P for the password file, and then we're running against 172.16.99.7, and it's the FTP protocol. So we'll just fire up Wireshark just so that we can actually have a look to see what the trace is. Okay, so let's go. There you go, it's found it already. Napier and Napier 123. And that's finished. Okay, so if we do an FTP response code equal to 530, there is our incorrect login. So you can see if we followed that stream, then we should be able to see what the login details actually were that were incorrect. Okay, so there's the attempt there. If we try for a 230, there we go. So response code 230 shows us when it was successful, and there it's there. Okay, So we can look at a response code and it'll give us details of when the attack has been successful. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our syslog server, and then from the firewall we're going to actually send details from the firewall to the syslog server on various events that actually happen. So if we go to status, system logs, settings, just scroll down, and we're going to send to the machine in the DMZ 16.100.7, and we may as well just send everything there. We'll just save that. So that's going to send it to here. So already, hopefully, we should be able to see that there's some messages coming through. And there are. Okay, so what we'll do is that, okay, so already we're getting messages coming through. So what we'll do is we'll disable the firewall rules, such as this one. So we're going to disable that one, just toggle it off. Okay, so that's blocking. Oops, so that's the wrong one. Let's do it for the LAN. Let's re-enable that one, and we'll do it for the LAN. And we're going to block all IP traffic, and then hopefully when we try to connect, let's try and ping the gateway port. .99.254. There we go. So we get a rule that actually says that we've breached one of the rules on the firewall. So you can see here there was a match on EM1, which is the LAN port. Okay, so in this way we can keep track of exceptions that happen, firewall rules that get hit, and so on our syslog server. So what we'll do is we'll just go back and we'll re-enable that rule, and we shouldn't have a problem anymore. Okay, so there's a interesting tool called WMIC, which is quite a useful tool in gathering information either from a host or from the whole network, from all the Windows machines. So if we use WMIC, this is CPU listings. We can actually see what CPU is running. Especially we can look at the shares that are on a machine, because that can cause problems on the network. Okay, so you can see the shares that we have here. Okay, and we can also do that onto another network if we want. So as our last little exercise, let's actually set up our IDS system.